Brand new day here in the garage, and what I'm doing is blocking this thing. I have to start working on, well, really both ends. So the front end, I got a piece of LVL under there because I really want to do this 32 firewall in this machine. So I'm going to plan on doing that. First of all, I've got this 32 firewall. It's going in this car. I got a Brookville body. It's in perfect shape. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to cut it anyway because it's just what I want. So I've been watching a couple of videos on this. There's a couple of ways to do it. There is the way where you drill out all these spot wells along here. And when you do that, the band around the cowl comes off. So basically all of this back here, including that lip that goes along the back, comes off, and you can just slide the whole thing in here. And then there's the other way to do it, where you leave the band on, and this part of the band, so that's the front of the firewall. Sorry if you can't see it very well there. But this part of the band goes in this section of the metal. So it slides right in there. And then this part of the band takes the place of all this along here. There's a couple of things that, we have to consider here, because this is actually about 1/4 of an inch thicker from center of this ridge to the front of the sheet metal here than this is. This is only about 1 inch from the band to the front of the firewall. This is about 1.25 inches. The other thing is, so let's say we cut the band off along the back edge of this ridge here. So we're just tracing that along the back of it. That is going to get you close, but you still have to trim off enough to push the firewall back. So the edge, that part right there, okay, that little edge along there goes back here. But I'm going to do it. The guy I bought this from had done, it's got a recessed firewall in it. I just happen not to like it. And he had all this, what is it called? Cool It Thermotech stuff put in. So I'm going to have to go through and cut all that out. Other things he had done, you can see that the toe boards are welded down there. So that's going to have to come out. I don't know if he did that or Brookville did it, but that's going on. I think the first thing to do now that I got the tank cover off is I've got to cut all that Cool It thermal protection, whatever that is, out. So I've got to remove that, and I'm sure that's going to be a big ball of fun because it's like butyl rubber underneath there and it's sticky as all get out. So I got to do that first and remove enough to at least where I can cut through there and be able to assess what's going on behind the scenes. And then from there, you can see that brace is welded in a couple of different places. And then of course, the brace goes to the underneath the steering column here. So I got to take the steering column off. And then after that, I'll probably go ahead and cut these edges off, try to get them out of the way. And then I have to drill out the spot welds for the firewall. To drill out the spot welds for the firewall, you can do it a couple of different ways, outside or inside. So if you drill out all the spot welds here, you're going to end up having holes you got to fix in your metal, or you can use it to put screws in. My buddy Keith, that's what happened with his when they either reversed his firewall or did something with it. I can't remember. But they drilled all the spot welds out on the outside, and then they have screws going through to the inside. So it looks pretty neat. He's got these chrome-looking screws all up the side here, and that looks pretty good. I don't have an issue with that, but if I can swing it, I'm going to try to drill out the spot welds from the inside, either drill them or use one of the long little skinny extension sanders. You know what I'm talking about. You'll probably see it in a later video. And sand the spot welds down enough to where you can get one of these Steckman tools that you've probably seen me use before, with that bad boy right there, in there, and pop the spot welds. What that does is it does kind of put, you know, few holes in your firewall that you're not going to use, that you're probably going to resell to somebody else. But it keeps your metal on the outside from looking kind of funky. So I think that's a better plan of the two, and that's what I'm going to do. So as I get further along, I'll take some more videos and show you what I got going. All right, that's the front corner on that side. So anyway, I cut some of that stuff off over there. You can see I got a strip all the way down to the bottom, right? And then I did the same thing. I'll come around and show you on the driver's panel over there. Kind of hard to see, but just got that stuff off. Use a heat gun and the Steckman tool, and then I used a scraper. You know, one of these big Quinn daddies from over at Harbor Freight. Heat it up a little bit, but don't turn it into goo. Man, if you get that stuff completely liquid, it makes a big old mess. And then I noticed this, all right, you probably can't see in that seam, but I'm like, hey, there's seam sealer in there. Well, I started kind of hammering on this side, and I don't think it's seam sealer. I think it is panel bond. So this firewall may come out a lot easier than I thought, which I'm pretty happy about. I didn't know that Brookville uses that, or maybe this is somebody's home job. I don't know. But anyway, I think it's going to come out a lot easier than I first thought, which is a pleasant surprise. My life didn't usually go that way. So I'll keep working. That is really something. That's really something. It was panel bonded all the way down on both sides. It's the first time I ever took a panel off that was panel bonded. Here's what I have to say about that. It was stuck on there. It was never going to come off unless you really forced it to come off. And then it came off pretty nicely without making a huge freaking mess. I mean, yeah, that was pretty good. Okay, so we got that done. All right, a little bit of dolly work I'm gonna have to do there to straighten things out. However, some of this is gonna get cut off, so I'll dolly it out after then, right? I don't know what I did there. I must have, I don't know, maybe I drove the Steckman tool into it down there. Little stuff. All right, so next thing I'm gonna say, the braces have to come out. So this one's welded onto the doorpost. I'll get that. That one's welded there. This cross brace that goes to the steering mount, that's got to come out, and so does this one. Brace down on that side, that's got to come out. And I have to take the steering column out. And then, yeah, maybe a little bit of cutting where it's welded into the toe boards, and that baby's gonna come out. That's cool. Wrapping some stuff up. Okay, I have, let's see, got that severed on that side. Same thing over here. So both of those stabilizers have been cut. That goes to the steering column mount. I've got the aft end of these horizontal braces cut on both sides. You can see that this is all loose, so making some progress there. You can probably see on each side that there's some places where there were bolts placed in, and then I don't like painting over fasteners. What a pain in the rear end. First you got to try to get, they were Allen head screws. So first you had to try to get the Allen wrench in there, dig all the paint out for that. And then you know, they're sealed to the washers and sealed to the holes. Anyway, just me ranting there. So what that did was it disconnected the firewall from the toe board for this one, I think, and this just holds it to the bottom down here. So that all looks good. I still have to break that weld right there where the toe pans are welded to the firewall. And then after that, I think we'll be pretty close to pulling the thing out. So overall, that was not near as bad as I thought. Made even better by the use of panel bond. Yeah, same thing on this side, so that's gonna work out great. I understand that I will have to cut the feet down here, and I wanna do that to make it look like something from, I don't know, as factory as I can make it. You know, I mean, I just want it to be nice, that's all. Sorry, I don't want it to look like the beavers got a hold of the body mounts there. So I'll do the best I can on that, each side. I think it's right in front of the hole right there that you see that where it needs to be cut. But I'll go back and do some research on that, and then we'll keep moving. I'm showing you a picture of nothing. Okay, cool. Here's the results of a bunch of hackery. So don't know if I did this via the approved method, but it's the method I approved up, so we'll go with it. I'm zoomed out about as much as I can be, so there's where the firewall was, right? I think I'll take these bars off. I've got to clean up the panel bond, all this stuff from inside here. And then you can see that the firewall is going to go inside this edge back here. So there's a bunch of this that has to be cut off up in the front. I'll do a trial fit and see what it looks like so far, even though I know that these toe panels are going to be way too far out and in the way. I'm going to have to trim those back. I had this sitting in here, so now we get an idea of how much needs to be cut off. So let me go show you what I've got here. So your back edge here, about even with this ridge, right? And then you'll know that right in here, you know, that ridge doesn't go all the way around, so there's gonna have to be a little relief cut there. All right, so we've established that. And then if you look at where the firewall kind of places itself there, you'll note that all of this up in the front has to come off, right? All of this. So you're gonna have to cut all that all the way down. Other things of note, all right, where the toe board comes up on the 31, all that has to be cut off. So that's kind of a nice little, you know, hey, you gotta cut from right here on down to make this thing fit in and look right. So you can see it's gonna go pretty much straight down from there. And I think, you know, maybe it's tilted a little toward the inside of the car down at the bottom. So, you know, it's really gonna be close to level with where you cut the toe board out. And I don't know if I took the, other one out properly. Probably not. Like I said, you know, I'm just winging it here. So that's what we got going on. I am going to get to doing that thing I do and seeing if I can figure out where to start making the cuts here. And then we'll check back in as things progress. All right. After researching some stuff on the internet, probably the best source of information I found on this, not going to be a surprise to a lot of you, is through the hokey ass message board, also abbreviated as the HAMB, which you can look that up, or Jalopy Journal. And there's a guy on there who goes by the nom de guerre of Mo Rust, M-O-R-U-S-T. And he says to trim the cowl here 1/2 inch in front of the cowl band. I'm just going to have to guess here that the cowl band starts like right at the front of here. And I marked a 1/2 inch there. That looks right. Other things I'm going to do, I want to mark it with 1/2 inch tape. The only thing I could find, man, I could find 5/8, 3/4, a lot of stuff in millimeters. Thanks, Europe, appreciate you. But this expensive 3M like trim tape thing. So I'm gonna use that. I figure mark it at 1/2 inch here, trim it close, and then just use a flap wheel disc like that guy over there to bring it back to where it needs to be. And then the other thing I'm going to look at is trimming the toe boards. And I think from looking at them based on the way the firewall works, I'll show you the back of the firewall here. You see how it comes in down at the bottom? Okay, so it comes in like that. And I think that is going to slide right over the top of where I have the tape down here. Let me get a good picture of that. So I've got it taped off right there. It just kind of looks like if you trim straight across there, that it will sit down on top of it. That is what I think. And then, you know, some things are gonna have to be trimmed on the outside, on the original body mounts to make this work right. So we're gonna mess with all that stuff and see if we can get it to do what we want it to do. All right, we'll call this cut 1.0. No, I didn't cut it all the way back to the line that I made because, like I told you, well, first of all, I'm chicken, right? First time I've done this, and I'd rather not do it twice at this point because I don't have it twice. I've got this. So I cut in front of my line, and really I cut at the very back of the first bead is what I did on both sides. And then just to show you, I taped off the toe board down here, and I cut, shall we say, a commensurate amount off of the toe board on the driver's side. That's the passenger side. I haven't made that cut yet, so I'm about to cut that to match. And then we'll do another fitting and try from there. I'm about to call it a night out here, but I'm getting closer. Things that I've done, you can see the old firewall sitting there. Here's the new one. I went ahead and cut the tank cover. Again, I didn't cut it all the way to 1/2 inch. I'm just not sure that's where it needs to be. I am sure of a couple of things though. After clamping this thing up, if we flip it forward without breaking everything, one of the things you can see is on the side right there, how the tank cover comes in. So that band, the back of it is going to be need to be relieved right there for the tank cover. So I'm going to mark that and then get that done. All right, so there's the relief cut. Just one on each side. I think you can see the one over there. All right, so that'll work. Okay, I was worried about the 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's pretty much the measurement. You wouldn't want to go inside of that. Of course, you're going to be welding this up anyway. So I would imagine that there would be some body filler involved, blah, blah, blah. But I was kind of concerned about all that. Don't be concerned. That is the right measurement. 1/2 inch from the edge here. So 1/2 inch forward from there on the flat part, right? That little part right here is 1/2 inch wide. Take a look what's going on. So this is just clamped in, of course. The height, you know, vertically is not correct. So some more is going to have to come off down at the floor pan down here. I like where it's going. I like where it fits. I mean, you can see inside. I think that's looking pretty sweet. Like I said, vertically it's not right. So I'll have to take a look at that as we go. But in the big picture, this is what the goal is.